I've changed some expansion vessels in my time. Checking the schrader valve and water squirting out generally meant that the expansion vessel was damaged inside, and it needed and the whole expansion vessel needed replacing now. The other day, however, I was chatting to a friend who's been a gas engineer for a long time, and he said over the years he's not changed that many expansion vessels, and said that the water coming out is often just condensation. I doubted this and argued the case, but he said no. Try this next time and see. So this is what I did. This is my friend's Worcester boiler. I'd checked it recently and told him he needed a new expansion vessel. Water coming out of the schrader valve. It was a pain of a job, costly job, but we didn't do it. We hadn't got around to doing it. So I thought, let's try this now. So first of all, here I am draining the boiler down to 0. Then I've got my schrader valve tool and some schrader valve cores. So boiler is, you need to get the boiler to 0 on the pressure gauge. Then we want to take the schrader valve out of the expansion vessel. Unscrew that out. Right. There's the old schrader valve. So now we literally just have a hole. There's nothing there. So if there was any water in there or any pressure, any water with any pressure in it would just come out. It's basically like having a hole in your radiator or a hole in a water part of your central heating system. So what we're going to do now, we're going to attach a hose to where the schrader valve was. So connect it to the hole in the expansion vessel, and we're going to fill the boiler back up. We're going to repressurize it with the filling loop. You only really need to fill it up to 1 bar. I accidentally fill it up to 3 bar, which isn't advisable. It's on 0 bar at the minute. Got the hose attached. We've got the filling loop here, so we're gonna open the taps and start filling the system back up. So the tap's open, water's going into the system. I've accidentally gone way overboard. We've got 3 bar of pressure, but this does prove, because we've got this hose coming off the top of the expansion vessel with no water coming out. Nothing. So inside the expansion vessel is fine. It's holding that 3 bar of water back. Right, before I do anything else, I quickly go around the back, check that I haven't activated the pressure relief valve and the blow off's not dripping or wet, which it isn't, which I'm pleased about, because this is my friend's boiler. I didn't really want to, after doing this work, have to replace the PRV on this boiler. So back to the boiler. Yeah, we put a new schrader valve in.
Just stay there, like
just to put a brand new one in, just as we took one out with the little schrader valve tool. Just screw it into the hole. We've now opened the drain off on this Worcester boiler, so it's actually got an open end into that bucket while I pump up the expansion vessel. Again, this will also tell you now that the expansion vessel is actually fine, because as you see, I pump the expansion vessel to 1 bar and it holds at 1 bar with an open end, and the boiler is still showing no bar. You know, if the expansion vessel was damaged, you'd be pumping up the central heating system in a way. So that's just, just again confirms that the expansion vessel is absolutely fine. Look, it's holding at 1 bar. So like my friend said, who I spoke to the other day, basically condensation can build up in the air side. So when and the expansion vessel might be flat and you've got that condensation. I also just, if you saw then, just with a bit of leak detection fluid, check the shrouder valve before you finish as well, which is advisable. You don't want to do this work and then have the shrouder valve leaking. Quick check with the analyzer, make sure I've not disturbed anything, I've had the case off, and do 26.9 after any job on a gas appliance. And that is it. So next time you check an expansion vessel and there's water squirting out, don't jump to the conclusion that it's definitely damaged and needs replacing. This is a good check, and it could just be condensation, and the pressure of the central heating system, will push against even a half a cup of condensation in there will squirt out of the shrouder valve, and it will seem like it's full of water, which it necessarily isn't. So a good little one to try. Hope you've enjoyed that video. I really enjoyed learning that new, that bit of information for myself, which I'm going to use when I'm checking boilers in the future now.